Hello, everyone. Welcome to Next Big Future. I'm your host, Brian Wong. Today, I'm going to talk about when Tesla's profits will be supercharged with AI. Tesla has two major AI products coming out, full self-driving of cars and the Teslabots, and each could double Tesla earnings or more. Now, let's grab that. So we have the full self-driving, we have Teslabot, and the impact those have, the Teslabots in particular, have in the factories, and then how full self-driving becomes robotaxi and what the financial impact of that is. So people who don't track Tesla closely may not realize that full self-driving is very near. They have 100,000 beta testers, people in the United States, using the FSD software prototypes. They've gone through 11 major prototypes, 10.11, and now they'll come up with a 10.12 version of full self-driving. And the Q4, this fourth quarter of 2022, should see a general release into the US, and then some other countries are following very closely behind in terms of getting that released as a commercial product, basically where you paid it, it's not beta anymore, it's delivering all the features you need to help you drive the car on all roads, not just highway, which Autopilot does, but also on surface roads. And Elon said that about 1 million people could be using the FSD beta by the end of 2022, and they have not sold 1 million copies of FSD full self-driving, which costs starting at $4,000, now costs $12,000 for someone who wants to buy it with their Tesla car. So they have not sold that many. I think they've only sold about 200,000, some in the United States. So that would mean that Elon expecting that they would release it and that it would then encourage more people to want to use it because it'd be so useful and powerful. And August 19th, a little bit, in 2-3 months, they will have a second AI day, which could have major announcements for full self-driving as well as for Teslabot. So full self-driving, I mentioned the 10.12 beta is reported to be a big improvement. 10.11 also a big improvement over previous versions, and 10.12 is reported to be a very big improvement. They're going to single stack software. So instead of having one AI neural net working for parking lots and another for surface roads, they're merging them all together so that it's able to work under all the different conditions, which will make improvement faster. They're also changing how they handle the geometry, handling the pictures to pull the information out. So it's not what they call a bag of points, where they have to break down each image into where's the line of where this object ends, and they're treating it more as identified objects and handling the geometry of roads, how you're turning far smoother and better. So things that will make the improvement far faster is that they're already having 100,000 people using it, which if people are driving 20 miles on average per day with the system on, that's 2 million miles of data every day that they're gathering with 100,000 users they have had since March. So as they go toward 1 million, that would mean they're going to 20 million miles of data per day. And 20 million miles a day is how much the Google Waymo self-driving car competitor has gathered over a decade of their existence. So Tesla's data is going to go up 10 times from 100,000 to 1 million users. Their data goes up 10 times. And they have a Dojo training supercomputer, which will make the updates where they can process all the AI learnings and issue a new release with all the learning improved far faster. Instead of like twice a week, it should go to daily or multiple times per day with the new training supercomputer, which involves crunching the data faster. So they get more data and they crunch the data faster in order to have faster improvement. So instead of taking a few weeks or months between 10.11 and 10.12, they could have the improvements every week or multiple times per week with significant performance improvements. So what would be success? How much revenue impact would there be if we have full self-driving without robotaxi? So I've done some estimates, which will go into the next slide in terms of the assumptions of this. But here I have a projection where, by 2026, there could be nearly $150 billion of FSD, full self-driving revenue per year. And almost all the revenue is profit. It's software, it has 80-90% profitability. So that's why you can double the earnings, because if you just have $3 billion in the fourth quarter, that's how much they have about $3 billion in profit for Q1 for their whole car company. So by just having a few 100,000 people sign up for FSD, I go over the assumptions here. So let's say in 2022, the 500,000 people buy it. So of the million people who were testing it, half of them buy. So Elon says by Q4, they'll have 1 million beta testers. If half of those have already purchased or will already purchase the software, FSD software, that would mean $6 billion in revenue, and that would be virtually all profit. So that would mean even if they doubled the amount of profit from Q1 into Q4, it would still double again for the fourth quarter with FSD sales. And then if what they call the take rate, which depends on people who buy FSD, increases, 40%, 50%, then the revenues continue to increase very rapidly. And all cars that are currently on the road for Tesla are ready to have FSD activated. So if someone chose not to buy FSD in 2021, they can still change their mind and then choose to buy it and activate it. So you have this aftermarket of FSD purchasing if they experience it. So something that Tesla can do is offer the 1 month. They sell FSD for 1 month for $199, but they could have a special where they say, we made the breakthrough, it's great, you don't need to virtually pay that much attention, and it'll still be safely driving you. They can say, okay, now everyone can have a 1 month free trial. And then if it's really great, then half people can convert and say, okay, yes, that was fantastic. It is very helpful for me. And then they would then purchase it. So full self-driving without robotaxi would involve getting better and better full self-driving. More and more people want it, and they can get it right away without waiting. Currently, people have had to wait, get a driving score that's good enough, and then they get accepted into the program. If it's automatic, where it doesn't believe that anyone can use it, even if they're a bad driver, then whoever purchases it can then get it right away, which would then also increase the people who would then choose to buy it because they wouldn't have to wait to get it. And then transition to robotaxis, how will that happen? They will first probably use robotaxis in the boring tunnels. There's boring tunnels in Las Vegas where they're driving around the convention center. And then by next year, they'll be driving all over from downtown Las Vegas and then out to the airport. That will extend down the strip. So they have Tesla cars in there, but with human drivers. That would be one of the easiest places to add driverless Tesla cars to take the human drivers out and then turn on robotaxi service there. Another area they can do it would be in dedicated lanes where the Tesla Semi or Cybertruck would be, or even other Model X, Model Y, would be on dedicated lanes. So instead of like a commuter lane, you'd have a dedicated robotaxi lane, and that could make it easier for places to approve regulators to authorize robotaxis. You can also choose, there's certain dedicated roads for commercial work where you have like trucks going to mines or other places. And if Tesla buys lithium mines or has partners, they could have some dedicated roads they could use the first robotaxis to get greater confidence, experience, and get the regulators seeing that it works. So Tesla could also create its own Uber-like ride-sharing service, and then have that with robotaxi. So they can have dedicated robotaxi models. So Tesla said they'll do that. and start mass production in 2024. They can also use the robotaxis to accelerate their business by, self-driving the cars to ports or delivering them to customers at various locations. They can have the cars drive themselves to places to speed up logistics. So how does robotaxi compare to full self-driving, a very successful full self-driving? A full self-driving with 50% take rate, half the people who have a Tesla buy full self-driving, that could see 30 million people with full self-driving at $12,000 a piece. They could raise the price, and that's about $460 billion. A robotaxi, if it's driving 5 times more, 160,000 miles per year, 8 times more, at 50 cents per mile, that could be $480 billion. So that's a crossover point, where basically, if you have 1/5 as many robotaxis as you have regular vehicles, then the robotaxi becomes more profitable. And so we just speed up the rollout. So because if Tesla's making many cars, in terms of their mission of converting transportation to electric, they can do that with 1/5 as many robotaxis as regular cars, even if they're FSD cars. And the robotaxi revenue, ARK Invest has calculated that the robotaxi business could, in total, could be $11 trillion by 2030, versus a highly adopted FSD based on the number of cars that Tesla has for about $1.5 trillion. So both very, very profitable. And just robotaxi can be even more profitable than full self-driving. And so now the other big AI development is Teslabot. Elon has showed off the concept, with a human in a suit, showing what the Teslabot would be last year, and now August 19th, he's said they're going to show a working Teslabot. And why would Tesla be able to quickly make a humanoid robot? Humanoid robots have existed for a while. The Boston Dynamics has their Atlas humanoid robot. Honda has had their Asimo robot for a couple of decades. So they have been built in companies or at universities, Carnegie Mellon, et cetera. So Tesla got a lot of people hired, roboticists, AI people, from the last AI day. So, half the team from Boston Dynamics, or current or past, could have likely joined Tesla, and then they would just remake the body, and then they incorporate the FSD software, which can identify objects, what's a wire, what's a socket, and how to put the wire into the socket. So it's the FSD software is very ready, and the humanoid robot actuators and systems are very ready for companies with 20 times the resources, R&D wise, versus Boston Dynamics. And Elon's talked about getting to limited mass production in 2023. So the big AI hiring surge, they'll probably get another AI hiring surge on August 19th, after August 19th, and then they'll be accelerating to mass production of these Teslabots. And where will the first place that we apply them, I believe, in Tesla factories. Why this is because Tesla factories are ready for Teslabot automation. They have digital self-management. So there was a drone fly-through of Tesla factories, and they showed these screens with digital self-management. So digital self-management for this case is a scan of the car's paint job, better than the human eye can see, and noting defects. So then there's a score of the paint job with the defects, and they say, okay, remediate that, fix up the paint job, which is done by humans, and then after they fix it up, they say, okay, here's the new score. It was 75, and now it's 90. Now it's good enough. And they have this full testing of every car, and they have full testing at every workstation. And they can make 27 changes per week to the cars and to the factory lines because of how they've set up their processes. And they have something called 4D hexagons for flexible production. which is beyond assembly line. So let's discuss that further in the next slides. So you have factory bots for some tasks in 2023, because they'll have thousands of them, and then they can start working in the factories right away. And why will that be safe, and why can they incorporate that without messing up what's going on in the factory? A normal factory has factory lines. So you'll start at one point, go down, and then turn and snake through the factory to the end. So it's a constant line. If I was to have an X there and take something out, then I have to change things forward in front and back of the production line, which makes things very rigid. It's tough to make changes in a GM or a Toyota factory. Tesla instead has hexagons, and the hexagon workstation each has a workstation, and the workstation is on a platform that can be towed, live to other locations. I can move one hexagon in the lead spot over to another spot. And I can also have multiple hexagons, I'll say 3, all doing paint quality control. And the human team's more productive is having more impact. So they can be doing half of the work, even though there's 3 human work groups. And then some of the work groups can incorporate Teslabots. If you have a mix of human and Teslabot, and that's more productive, then it has more impact. And eventually I'll switch to completely Teslabot work groups. So then a function, paint work or wiring work, can be converted over to Teslabots, because all the testing, all the processes that Tesla have set up for changes. And Tesla has layers in this instant flexibility. So the picture below shows the Texas factory, and it's over 50 feet tall. So there's 3 stories, top floor for making battery cells, and then they drop the completed cells through a hole to the second floor, where they are incorporated into battery packs. The battery packs then drop through the hole to the first floor, where the cars are made, and the completed battery pack comes to the exact location where they would be incorporated into the cars. But the first floor is 32 feet tall. So then you can have 3 layers inside the first floor. So then these hexagons, you can have one hexagon feeding another one beside it or another one above it. Like it can be connected in like 8 different points, 6 along the 2D axis, and then above and below, and also diagonally. So then it can actually feed into like 18 or 20 different ways and flow out. So that gives them maximum flexibility. And because these things move, I can, dynamically change the process. I can eliminate a hexagon, or I can add them in, and I can, stack them up in order to add more in. So the processes can massively change. And the factory is 3 times the area of the Pentagon, but in terms of like volume, then you're looking at a further tripling and quintupling of the volume area of the factories. So they can so the factory bots can be easily trained and then easily incorporated into the factories, and they can easily produce tens of thousands per month. Each of the Tesla bots is 40 times less weight than a Model Y. So if you can make 1,000 Model Ys per month, and they make 100,000 per month now, into Model Ys, Model X's, etc. If it's just 1,000, then I can make the same weight of Tesla bot. That'd be 40,000 Tesla bots. Same number of batteries, same number of metal, etc. They may choose to sell them for more later on or lease them out to other companies, but for their own internal use, it's more based on the cost of materials for them. So Tesla bots will be an employee multiplier. The 120,000 or so human workers at Tesla, some in some of the factories, about 20,000 in each of the factories, the China factory. So by 2024, you could have 200,000 human workers, and then you could have 500,000 Tesla bots. So it'd be like a 2x, 3x multiple for Tesla bots. And then 2025, you got 300,000 human workers and 1 million Tesla bots, tripling or quadrupling the productivity, if they're useful and having that impact of production. So the initial incorporation might only speed up certain processes by 10%. And then by 2024, they could get very good at it and get things 50% more productive. which is be multiplying how many cars and how many battery utility scale energy storage packs or Tesla walls, power walls that they are making. So this is a multiplier of Tesla's revenues and Tesla's profits. And actually, the profitability would be higher with the Teslabot built systems, so the margins would also increase. So doubling by 2025 is very doable, and then even 5x by 2030. So this will be, they've already improved the factories a great deal with gigapresses, and now they're going to add in Teslabots, and they have machines, Teslabots, making other machines, the cars. Elon's talked about getting factories 10 to 100 times faster. Currently, the production lines, the factory processes are 1/5 a human walking speed. So Elon thinks he can get 10 times faster than human walking speed, so they can get up to 50 times, perhaps 100 times faster for massive productivity. If you have increased the production from 1 million cars per year or 2 million cars per year out of Shanghai to 100 million cars from that one massive super productive factory. And they can also have the Teslabots, factory bots making the factories and making other systems to further speed up the production of the company. So this is a multiplier. So the AI is a multiplier, the FSD is a multiplier, and Teslabots are multipliers. So just reviewing, FSD could double profits or more starting in 2023. Robotaxis can further increase that by 5 times over the next few years as that gets rolled out. Teslabots can increase production by 50% by 2024. And Teslabots can double car and energy storage by 2025. And Teslabots could 5x Tesla production by 2030. So even if certain things take a year longer, it takes to 2031, 2032, you talk about a 25 times further improvement over existing, going from, if before we expected them to go from just under 2 million cars this year to 20 million cars in 2030, now with 25 times improvement, let's say by 2032, then you could be looking at 500 million cars or massive amounts of energy packs by 2032, even if it was a couple of years late, according to these projections. You could have like 5x or 10x by 2030. So even if things are slightly delayed, the multiplication of the profitability will just supercharge the share price, supercharge the profitability of what they're doing. And everything that they're doing will build on top of the other. So better FSD means better Teslabots means better factory production. It all just keeps feeding upon itself. And Tesla, my most important point is Tesla is ready for bots and ready for FSD. Over 100,000 users are using FSD already without fatalities. If there was a fatality, it'd be all over the news. If you had that many regular American drivers, you would expect 1 or 2 fatalities every month. So it's been going for over 6 months and no fatalities. And then also you expect large numbers of bad injuries, and the numbers are not supporting that's there. So there is improved safety, just based on statistics, that because we're not seeing fatalities, which you would expect based on the average miles driven fatality rate from the U.S. Transportation Agency, we're seeing that it's making things safer. And FSD can double Tesla overall profits in 2023 with, about 40-50% adoption rate. Tesla factories and processes, with the hexagonal flexible workstation system and the digital self-management, they're ready to train Teslabots. They have the scoring system for their work groups, and they have the systems automated that the AIs can use to train themselves and to be incorporated into the work of a factory. So factories are ready, process-wise, workflow-wise, ready to train and use Teslabots. And it's because things are flexible, movable, and you have competing work areas. So the redundancy in work areas means Tesla can try new things and try and incorporate them right away. So this has been my talk on how Tesla AI will supercharge Tesla profits. You can read more of my articles and more of my videos at the Next Big Future, or look at Next Big Future on YouTube. You can also support us on Patreon. The link is there in this slide. And also you can follow me on Twitter. And I also have a newsletter. So hope you enjoyed that. And please like and subscribe. And see you next time.